What's going on, guys? So in front of you, you were looking at some pretty cool stuff from the folks over at Wolfbox. Now let me give you a full disclaimer on this, full disclosure on this as well. This stuff right here was provided to me by Wolfbox for review and evaluation. But the only reason that I have this stuff sitting in front of me is because of a video that I made on my own without any type of collaboration. I purchased equipment, I installed it on a previous truck, my previous red F450. They saw that video, even though I was a little critical on the product at the time because I had to replace one because it wasn't working properly. I replaced it. So far, that product has been working absolutely fantastic. And yeah, they saw the video and they said, you know what, we'd like to send you some stuff to review, see what you think of it. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Guys, being a YouTube reviewer can sometimes be a little stressful, especially when you have tons of stuff that you need to review, all sorts of different projects, and you only have a limited amount of time to actually do all of it. So back here is going to be a future project. This is going to coincide with something I talked about in a previous video. This is going to be essentially like a budget solar build, a budget battery charging station, kind of something that I think a lot of people would be interested in building their own and trying to save money or adding to an RV. So that stuff's kind of stacked back here. This right here is absolutely insane. That's going to be its own video. But in front of us today, we're going to talk about this gear from Wolfbox. So I produced a video where I installed a Wolfbox dash camera, rear view facing camera replacement, or at least add-on rear view mirror attachment, and it was a really popular video. It was cool because it gave me the ability to add a video rear view mirror to a vehicle that may not already have it. So my previous 2017 red F450 did not have a video rear view mirror like our 2023 GMC Denali does. My new truck, my 2024 F450 Platinum, also does not offer that, and I want to add it because when you're talking about these really big trucks that are super long, high off the ground, being able to use your standard rear view mirror looking through the back crew cab over the bed cover off the back of the truck can be kind of difficult, and having something that gives you a little bit of extra flexibility when doing that can come in really handy. Now, we also occasionally have a child seat in the back because of our grandbaby, and the challenge there is you really can't look past it at all because it's blocking your whole rear view mirror. So adding a rear view mirror camera made a lot of sense because it allowed us to position a camera on the back glass, right on the inside right there, I guess right below the normal center high mount camera that's included from the factory, which you can't always have on, and it's not always a great view to be looking at when you're driving. Plus, it doesn't really give you the width to look over the sides of the back of your truck as well. But it's mounted right on the inside of the glass, and it works really well because it gets behind anything you might have in the back seat and gives you a really wide view perspective of what's going on behind your vehicle. Anyways, this system was very easy to install. There wasn't a heck of a lot to it. The challenge with this truck in doing it is that I needed to be able to provide power to it, and I didn't want to use the 12-volt adapter that had to plug into the dash all the time because it leaves a wire hanging there. So I ran a separate set of 12-volt plugs, basically your old cigarette lighter style plugs, from an upfitter switch around the passenger side, and it's in the footwell area, which we'll show you here in a second. And that's how I have the Wolfbox plugged in that's in the truck. But the Wolfbox that we have in here is actually called the G840S, and this is a 12-inch 4K camera. But they have now evolved past that. So there's a newer version of it, and that's what we're going to be hot swapping today. And when I mean hot swapping, we're basically, hopefully, just need to swap the screen because we have the cabling and everything ran for the camera. And if the camera hasn't changed in the back at least, this is going to give us some flexibility. If it has changed in the back, we can simply upgrade to that camera as well because we also have it. Okay, so we're inside of the truck now, or at least looking inside of the truck. You can see how the Wolfbox attaches up here. It simply attaches to the front of your rear view mirror, and then it has these rubber straps that clamp around the back of it and hold it in place. Now, one word of caution, if you have an older vehicle that has a mirror that doesn't attach really well, you may run into a bit of a problem with your mirror wanting to fold down, or possibly even pulling the bracket off of the glass. But when I show you the kit unboxed here in a second, you'll see how they've kind of come up with a really innovative solution for that. So looking under here, this is where I ran that additional 12-volt plug. And the way I did that was, again, with Ford, you have upfitter switches up here, and you can get those on Ram and General Motors trucks as well. So the number one upfitter switch is powering this 12-volt plug, which gives me two 12-volt adapters plus 5-volt USB in the center. And I basically have it routed all the way around from the hood underneath, under here, back behind there to that spot right there. So now I have two additional cigarette lighter style plugs, so I don't have to use the one that's up here. Now, if you have a GM vehicle, a new one, 23 and newer, with the newer style interior, not the previous generation, you do not have any 12-volt plugs like that, and you will need to add some, or you'll need to figure out how to hardwire it into your system. Now, keep in mind, this does convert it down to 5-volt USB-C, so you can't just hook the wires, cut the wires off and plug it into your vehicle. You need to be sure that you are providing the correct amount of power to turn this thing on, and really the way of doing that is to be able to connect them to a 12-volt plug like this, or use a 12-volt adapter that's connected to a 12-volt converter, which gives you the two leads that you can run to your battery connection or to an auxiliary power connection that comes on with your key. All that said, we are prepped for it. Now, I am going to swap the back camera out, and let me show you why. So a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier in the video is the fact that we have a child seat back here for our grandbaby. And because of that, you can't see past that with the rear view mirror. It obstructs all of this. Plus, the fact is the mirror can't really see past much because of the big bed in the back of the truck and the fact it has to look past the crew cab. So we have the camera mounted right here currently. Now this camera looks different than the camera that's included with the new Wolfbox system that we have, and because of that we're going to swap it out, because I'm pretty sure that the new camera, which I believe is 2.5K, is going to replace this camera. So we'll have 4K looking out the front and 2.5K looking out the rear. Okay, so back at the workbench we have everything unboxed. Again, these are those rubber straps that secure this to the mirror, but what they've also included is this really cool OEM bracket. Now this replaces these little mounts that straddle your current mirror. This goes right here, and what I'm hoping is that this simply slides onto the mirror that's in the truck. Now, if it does, that'll be a big advantage, but what I do not know is if there's any additional sensors on the mirror that's in the truck. So I need to take a look at that really quick. Okay, so I have taken the Wolfbox 840 that I had on here off. Very, very simple process to do. And it looks as if the mirror is a pretty standard mirror. There's not a heck of a lot going on here. There is a sensor right here on the back, though, and I want to be sure that that sensor isn't going to cause me any issues, because that may actually pair to something else in the truck, like a Ford camera, Ford collision, something like that. I believe most of that stuff is actually up here on the other side of this. But again, I don't want to take the risk that that sensor is going to be something that's important. Okay, so I removed the mirror, and this is the auto dimming mirror. You can see where it says auto dim right there. And this just appears to be a photoelectric sensor. So this is probably just to dim the mirror whenever it's in the truck. But there's a lot of bulk to this mirror, and there's a good amount of weight. So I'm hoping that there's no other function in this mirror that I'm just missing. I don't see any sensor nodes. Actually, I kind of do right there, if you can see it right in the middle. I don't really know what that's for. Hopefully they just all support the auto dimming function, but I just don't know for certain. It does look like it's also a photo cell as well. But we're going to go ahead and swap the mirror out so I don't have to hang it off of the front. And we're going to use the included bracket, which actually has a mount that looks very, very similar to the Ford mount. So I should be able to just swap this out. Before I do that, though, I have to remove these. I believe I take the little grommets off here. There's probably some small screws in there that I'll need to replace. Yep, a couple Phillips head screws, so I just need to unscrew this, put the OEM bracket in place, and then it looks like I need to screw this in place like that, and I should be able to just swap the whole mirror out. So that'll be kind of cool. Let's check it out. Okay, so to put this on, it should just slide over the existing mount up here. Look at that. Perfect. Now, don't have a need for this anymore, so I'll probably just zip tie this back behind here I definitely don't want to remove it. Power will plug in there. Camera. Okay, so my power's here and my camera is going to be right here. Now what I'm going to try first is to see if it's compatible with the camera that I have back there. I'm pretty dang sure it is, mainly because the connection fits and quite frankly, it's pretty much the universal style camera connection that you would need. That said, let's turn it on. See what happens here. Definitely makes a different startup sound. Camera can't see out the front yet. Oh, it's because we have a piece of plastic covering the lens. Okay, so that is really, really cool. This thing is working right off the bat. Got to set my date and time still. You can make adjustments like this, and can we look at the back is the question. So I don't think that the camera yet is seeing the back camera. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to hook up the new camera because it does not look like it's recognizing the camera that's back there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the new camera hooked up on the back. Okay, so I just pulled my cord down and it does appear to be the same 4-pin connection that the old camera used. So the cameras look completely different. There's definitely a little bit more size to this camera right here. And the way I have it mounted up here, you can see that tape right there is just to kind of cover up the top bracket, but I have adhesive back here and it just peers out right out the back window. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it on up front to see if it recognizes the new camera. Okay, so we're back up front. Let's give this thing power and see what happens. There we go. Oh, look at that. Instantly recognize the back camera, front camera. We are in good shape. It's upside down because I have it sitting upside down right now. So we are going to go ahead and get that mounted. I love the fact that you can do this. You can change the angle, which is really, really nice. Again, it gives you your date and time. Lets you know that it's recording 4K out the front, 2.5K off the back. Automatically starts recording. You can adjust your brightness level, all of this. Now, what I'm really going to be excited to see is how well the rear camera performs in terms of low light. So at night, we're going to have to wait to be able to test that feature, but super, super cool so far. So let's go ahead and get the back camera swapped out so we can see a realistic view of what we should expect. Okay, so we have the new camera mounted in place. I basically use this clear 3M VHB tape. It secures it really, really well. The camera's basically stuck to the bottom of this bracket, and then I use some on the back of the 2 little L brackets I have here, and some Gorilla Tape on top of it, just to kind of conceal everything, hide everything up. The wires are all ran underneath the cover right here. It looks really good. So, I mean, for the most part, people don't even notice it's back there. And I think I have it at a pretty decent angle. Might need to go up just a little bit. You're going to want to tighten these 2 Phillips head screws right here whenever you install it, just so it's nice and snug and it's not going to be rotating around on you every time you hit a bump. But let's go ahead and get in the driver's seat and see what this thing looks like. Okay, let's get the truck started. You'll hear the wake up. And there we go. Check that out. So now I can pan down, I can pan up if I want. That is really, really cool. So, you know, it's I'm going to say a good upgrade, but I don't know how good of an upgrade it's going to be until, of course, we hit the road and start recording with it. It includes a micro SD card in it already, which is really, really nice. So you don't have to go out and buy a memory card. And just to look at the back, I can see at the back, which is nice. Don't know if there's a zoom function or anything like that. I can adjust my brightness level. This is just going to toggle through the different views. I can take a quick picture if I want. I can lock it if I want as well, so you don't have to worry about it being tampered with. You can play back if you'd like. That's really cool. That's really nice. Compared to most dash cameras, it's really a pain in the butt to see what you're trying to look back at because it's such a small screen, you're going through menus. But because this is touchscreen, really, really nice. And then your settings are right here. Display mode, loop recording. You have your shock sensor. So the G sensor is to determine if there's any harsh event that causes it to start recording. You have a fatigue reminder. That's kind of interesting. Wi-Fi, volume settings, your tone. There's a screensaver. Yeah, just keep the screensaver off. Okay, voice control, what is that? So, here are your voice commands. Okay, so you can say all sorts of things like lock the video, take a picture, turn on audio, turn off audio, turn on screen, show front camera, show rear. That's really cool. Time format, time style, daylight savings time. You can change your flicker. So this is kind of cool. So you can change the hertz here in case there's a flicker going on because of maybe LED lights or something around you. Even more, help center, format the SD card. You can do a format reminder. You can download the app. So that's cool. So it gives you a place to quickly download the app as well. That is really, really awesome. Let's go over some of the specs of this real quick so you guys know at least what you'd be getting into if you decided to get this camera. We can look at the device file, which would be any recordings that we've made so far. We can play them. So if you have to turn it up. Okay, so it's going through the Bluetooth on the car right now because I'm connected to the car. But that is really cool. So now we have full access of the camera through our smartphone. I can change the settings. Okay, so here is my old camera. I can tell you that the 900 Pro series feels a bit higher end, mainly because you have a nice heat sink in the back here to dissipate some heat from it. This one doesn't feel bad at all. This is their also wider screen, so it's a 12-inch screen, I believe, on this one. There is the rear camera right here, so I have a full kit if I want to install that on another vehicle. So maybe that might go on the Subaru, not sure. Anyways, their advertising points on this one is that it has a 4K front camera, 2.5K rear camera, super night vision technology, which my previous one made that claim as well. I have a lot of experience driving at night with that one, so it's going to be very interesting to see what the performance looks like versus this one. Voice control, 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi. The old one did not have Wi-Fi, so this one does. So that's a big perk. They both had GPS. I did not hook it up on that one. I might hook it up on this one, but I'm not too concerned to do that, honestly. And a 12-inch touchscreen. Okay, so can you see it? Can you see it? Right there, I mounted the GPS antenna, decided to put it on, routed it right there under this panel, through here behind there, up and around the trim, up here to the top right there. Looks really good. I've already zip tied the back in place. So that is really cool. So we will be leaving here in a little while to go ahead and check out what the video quality looks like. We might actually wait until it gets a little darker outside so we give you the ability to see how this thing actually performs at night. Okay, so we had an opportunity to hit the road during the daytime as well as some nighttime video. This is the daytime video footage using the 4K forward camera. Really, really clean, sharp image. I think that most people expect that now from 4K cameras. The rear camera is a 2.5K camera, and it also shows some really good clarity. I do believe you'd be able to see license plates from the back and the front, no problem at all. But I'd have to say most dash cameras do a pretty good job in terms of forward and rear facing. The benefit here, of course, is that it's all combined into the rear view mirror unit, so you don't have to have a separate camera attached to your front windshield. Now, at night, the front camera looks absolutely awesome. And again, this is the camera that's actually on the back side of the rear view mirror. Absolutely amazing clarity. I was super impressed, super nice and bright. The headlights do a great job of illuminating the road, and as you can see, the camera itself picks up a lot of detail. I really do believe that this is probably one of the best forward-facing cameras I've seen on a vehicle for nighttime driving. Now, the rear camera, as you're about to see here in a second, is a little bit of a different story, but again, not too surprising. I do wish that it was as clear as I can see on my GMC Denali with the factory camera, because you can see a lot. And if you look at this image here, on dark roads, you really don't see anything. If there are lights in the distance, you see those pretty clearly. You can definitely see when cars and things like that turn behind you. If there are street lamps on the side of the road, it does allow you to see what's going on, and you can see the road pretty clearly as well. But as far as, dark roads, not a lot of lighting,
it's going to be very difficult to see anything around you. However, again, when you have a car behind you, it really does a great job of illuminating and you can see a lot. So I wouldn't say that it's a bad rear-facing camera, but it certainly does require some assistance of some ambient lighting around you in order for it to give you the best picture.
And one quick update before we end this video. This specific camera, I'm looking on Amazon right now, at least at the time of this filming, has a list price of $359.99. It's on sale, or at least the reduced price is $269.99. So it's a pretty dang affordable upgrade. It's a bit more expensive than the one that we had before, but there's some great perks to it that I think could come in handy for a lot of folks. That said, very, very cool. I'm trying to see if there's any accessories that are included with it for like pro mounting or any of that stuff, but I don't think it is. I still think you need to get that stuff separately. That's what it looks like. But you can get all of the accessories to professionally install it, all of that either from the folks over at Wolfbox or on Amazon, I presume, and have a really, really professional looking replacement rear view mirror camera, which is pretty awesome. Video camera, so that's awesome. Plus dash camera and all the stuff that you expect without having to add something else to your windshield. Very cool. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. I will throw a link to this in the description of this video if this is something that you would like to get. I love the product so far. I had an initial issue with one of them, sent it back, no problem at all. They completely replaced it, brand new unit, and we've been using it now in my previous truck and my new truck without any issues whatsoever. I love how it functions, and I've been very happy with it. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.